Alright, let's talk about how we can sketch graphs that look like that. What are the H and K? They just represent numbers. So let's talk about a specific example. We want to draw the graph down here. Y equals x take 2 all squared take 5. That's the graph we want to draw. And I'm going to teach you how you do that. You firstly, rule number 1, over here. You draw the graph of y equals x squared. Now how do you do that? We've got 5 points here. You only really need 3 points. You need this point, that point, and that point. You've got to know that to draw the graph of y equals x squared, you need the point 0, 0, the point 1, 1, and the point negative 1, 1. That is to draw the graph of y equals x squared. Alright? So what we do is we put our axes, we put our y-axis and our x-axis. And then we plot these points. We plot 0, 0, it goes right there. And then if I use a different colour, we plot 1, 1, goes right there, the blue. And then we plot negative 1, 1 over here. Then, to draw your quadratic, you just join up the dots and you get the equation or the drawing of your quadratic. So that's y equals x squared. But we want to draw this thing over here. We want to draw y equals x take 2 all squared take 5. Now remember, the red is what you have to remember. So first thing you have to remember out from here is that y equals x squared, you need to draw those points. The second thing, if you have brackets, the number inside the bracket is, if it's positive, that number inside the brackets, you move the graph to the left. If it is negative, you move the graph to the right. If you do not have brackets, if it is positive, you move it up, and if it's negative, you move it down. They are the key bits of information you must know for this section. So let's have a look at our graph over here in the green. We've got y equals x take 2 all squared take 5. Let's look. The number inside the bracket, it's negative. So we are going to move this 2 to the right. The number without the brackets, no brackets, is also negative. That means we are going to move it down. So we know that we need to move our graph of y equals x squared that we just drew here in the green. We've got to move that 2 to the right and 5 down. How do we do that? Well, what we do is we move these individual points that we just drew. We move them. We move them 2 to the right and 5 down. So for example, let's start here at 0, 0. I'm going to move them 1, 2 to the right, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. And I get this point here. You don't have to put those lines in. This is just to help. So you get that point there. Then move this one. We're going to move it 1, 2 to the right. And then we're going to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to move it down 5. And we get this point here. And then finally, we've got this point here. We're going to move that 2 to the right. Moving it 1, 2 to the right. And then moving it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. And I get that point there. I get the yellow points. Alright, now there's a lot of points going on that graph, so I'm just going to clear some of it off so it doesn't get so confusing. You get the picture. You move the points 2 to the right and 5 down, and you get those points, which you can then connect up, and you've got your new graph. So 2 rules. 1, draw y equals x squared. You do that using these points down here. And then you move key points. 3 key points. H across and K up or down. What that means is if it's in brackets, you move it across. If it's not in brackets, you move it up and down. Let's just think about one more example of that. A bit of a simpler example of that. What about if you had the graph y equals x squared plus 4? Now this case, you have no brackets. That means h is 0. Alright, so h is 0. You do not move it across. All you worry about is this. That's not in the brackets and it's positive. If you look back on that those notes that I said you must know, that means you move it up 4. So we get a graph of y equals x squared. That's the first thing. 1, draw y equals x squared. So we get our graph of y equals x squared. We draw the points 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. So that's 1. 1, -1, 1, and -1. We draw 1, 1, we draw -1, 1, and we join it up. And what we get is the graph of y equals x squared. That's all I've done. I haven't drawn my graph yet at all. But then, 2, I'm going to move the points. So I'm going to move them up 4. Let's go. If I've got this at 1, I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to move it up to there. I'm going to move this one 1, 2, 3, 4, about to there. And this one 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to move it about to there. Alright, so I've moved all my points. If you're doing this on graph paper, it's a bit easier, and I get my new graph. The final type that's a bit like that is if you don't have moving it up and down and you're just moving it across. So say you had y equals x take 6 all squared. Alright, all that's saying is, well, let's go plus, just for fun. We have brackets, and we have a plus in the brackets. That means we move it left. Alright, that's the bits of information you need to know that. So, we're going to draw y equals x squared, which we've already got drawn from part A, so we wouldn't need to redraw it. We've got our key points, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, and -1, 1. What we do is we join those points up. Join them up. Join them up. It looks like that. Now, the brackets, the number in the bracket is positive, so we're going to move it 6 left. Let's move each of these points 6 left. Starting with this one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left. Gets to here. We don't move it up and down because we don't have a number here. Then here, let's move this 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We've moved it 6 left, and then we join it up. Let's just quickly review what we just said. If we have got y equals a graph like this, and we have to draw this. This is when we have to sketch a graph like this. Alright? We first plot these points. 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, and -1, 1. Then we move it. We move the graph. If the number in the brackets is positive, you move it left. If it's negative, you move it right. If you've got no brackets, you move it. The number which isn't in brackets, positive is up, negative is down. If you've got both, then you're going to move it left and right, and up and down. Have a look at these notes on Daymap. You should be able to understand them now and be able to do section A of the revision questions. Have fun with that. Positive.